What happens when the man Meghan Markle left behind suddenly becomes the center of a royal earthquake, and Prince Harry realizes the past was never really buried at all? Because right now, whispers are spreading through royal circles faster than palace aides can contain them, and at the center of this storm is one shocking possibility: that Trevor Engelson's silence may have hidden far more than anyone imagined. For years, he stayed quiet while Meghan transformed from Hollywood actress into duchess, global activist, and the most controversial woman attached to the monarchy in modern history. He watched from a distance while Harry defended her against the world. But now, the silence is cracking, and insiders claim Harry was not prepared for what resurfaced. Something about this story feels different. Not because royal scandals are unusual, the monarchy survives on scandal. It feeds on secrets, image control, carefully staged appearances, and polished smiles hiding private chaos. But this situation feels personal, dangerous, because the questions now surrounding Harry and Meghan are no longer coming only from tabloids or anonymous internet gossip. They are coming from patterns, from contradictions, from people who once stood close enough to see behind the curtain before the world ever noticed the performance. And according to insiders, that realization is exactly what has left Prince Harry emotionally shaken. At exactly 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on May 1st, 2026, cameras around the world were focused on King Charles III preparing for a historic appearance at the White House. But while royal photographers captured polished handshakes and diplomatic smiles, another story was quietly exploding thousands of miles away behind the gates of Montecito. Sources claim Harry had reached a breaking point emotionally, privately reflecting on the life he left behind and the reality he now feels trapped inside. And suddenly, old relationships that were supposed to remain forgotten started returning to the surface with terrifying timing. For years, Harry played the role of protector, the loyal husband, the prince willing to sacrifice everything for love. He defended Meghan through accusations, documentaries, interviews, family feuds, and public backlash. Every criticism aimed at her became a war he personally fought. But now, insiders say something has changed behind closed doors. They claim Harry has started revisiting moments he once ignored, moments where he allegedly felt controlled, redirected, emotionally isolated. One insider reportedly described it as Harry waking up from a dream he didn't realize he was trapped inside. And once someone begins waking up emotionally, the smallest details suddenly become impossible to ignore. That is where Trevor Engelson's name suddenly becomes explosive again. Because people are asking a dangerous question no one wanted asked before: what did Meghan's former husband experience privately that Harry is only beginning to understand now? Trevor rarely spoke publicly after the divorce. That silence itself became suspicious over time. Most bitter ex-husbands chase interviews, money, revenge headlines. Trevor disappeared instead, completely. And in gossip culture, silence often creates louder questions than accusations ever could. Why stay quiet unless speaking would open doors too messy to close again? Why avoid the spotlight while the entire world obsessed over Meghan's rise into royalty? Then came Harry's emotional confession about missing the United Kingdom. And suddenly, the fairy tale started sounding less like freedom and more like exile. I miss the UK. Of course I do, Harry admitted, his voice reportedly heavy with regret while speaking about the homeland his children may never truly know. That statement hit differently because it sounded raw, not rehearsed, not polished by publicists. It sounded like grief, like someone realizing that in trying to escape pain, he may have accidentally lost himself entirely. But the moment insiders say truly rattled Meghan's team happened during the California Wellness Summit. What was supposed to be a calm event about mental health reportedly turned into emotional chaos with one simple question: do you ever feel like you lost yourself in love? Witnesses claim Harry froze instantly. His smile vanished. The room fell silent. And in that silence, people watching closely say they saw something terrifyingly real for the first time in years. Not Prince Harry, the media product. Not Harry, the scripted activist. Just a man looking emotionally cornered. And then came the internet explosion. Within minutes, clips circulated online with viewers calling it Harry's accidental truth. Social media erupted with theories connecting everything together: his growing distance from the royal family, his increasingly isolated public appearances, the tension during interviews, his reflective mood, his silence beside Meghan during certain events. Suddenly, people weren't watching a glamorous power couple anymore. anymore. They were watching a man many believed looked emotionally exhausted. Then the storm became even darker, because while Harry's emotional state dominated headlines, old controversies surrounding Meghan reignited again, especially the endless rumors about secrecy, surrogacy speculation, and palace distrust, the timing of Archie's birth announcement, the refusal to present the baby publicly like previous royals, the confusion over labor timelines. The internet had never truly let those suspicions die, and now critics were dragging everything back into public discussion again with renewed intensity. Online investigators began revisiting pregnancy footage frame by frame, reviving bizarre moon bump conspiracy theories that had circulated for years. Lady Colin Campbell publicly questioned inconsistencies. Samantha Markle added fuel through interviews discussing Meghan freezing her eggs years earlier. None of it was proven, none of it confirmed. But gossip does not survive on proof. Gossip survives on repetition, suspicion, and emotional timing. And right now, the timing could not possibly be worse for Harry and Meghan. Then came another twist almost too explosive to believe. Rumors spread that Prince William allegedly wanted denied confirmation surrounding Archie and Lilibet because of the relentless online speculation. Again, no official confirmation exists. But the very existence of such whispers sent royal watchers into meltdown, because once stories like these enter palace conversations, even privately, the damage becomes impossible to fully erase. And hovering over all of this is Harry's deepest fear: history repeating itself. The shadow of Princess Diana never left him. He watched his mother become consumed by media obsession, conspiracy theories, emotional isolation, and relentless scrutiny. Now, insiders claim Harry feels trapped between defending Meghan at all costs and quietly questioning whether the narrative he sacrificed everything for was ever fully honest to begin with. Then came Sarah Ferguson's alleged revelation tying Meghan to Prince Andrew's infamous social circles, detonating another wave of speculation just as Harry appeared emotionally vulnerable. True or exaggerated, the timing alone intensified the panic behind palace walls. Suddenly, Meghan's carefully built image faced fresh scrutiny from every direction at once. And according to insiders, crisis calls reportedly erupted behind the scenes almost immediately. But perhaps the most chilling moment came later, away from cameras, when Harry reportedly told attendees at the summit, "Healing means telling the truth, even when it hurts people you love." That sentence echoed across tabloids like a warning shot, because nobody knew exactly what truth he meant. And maybe that uncertainty is what makes this entire situation feel so dangerous. Now the world is watching Meghan's silence, waiting, calculating. Some believe she is preparing legal action. Others think she is planning another carefully controlled interview to flip the narrative again. But silence can be louder than statements, and every hour without a response only deepens public suspicion that something bigger may be unfolding privately behind those Montecito gates. Meanwhile, Harry appears trapped between two worlds: the royal family he abandoned and the marriage he sacrificed everything to protect. And somewhere in the middle of that emotional battlefield stands Trevor Engelson, the ex-husband who stayed silent long enough for the entire world to start wondering whether silence itself was the loudest clue of all. The deeper this story goes, the stranger the timing becomes. Because just as Prince Harry appears emotionally exposed for the first time in years, another uncomfortable question starts circling through royal gossip networks with dangerous persistence. Did Harry ever truly know the full story about Meghan before he destroyed his old life to protect her? That question alone explains why Trevor Engelson's sudden connection to the conversation feels so explosive. People are no longer looking at him simply as Meghan's ex-husband. They are looking at him like a missing witness to a puzzle the world may have misunderstood from the beginning. For years, the official story sounded almost too perfect. A prince tired of palace restrictions meets an independent American actress through mutual friends during the summer of 2016. A whirlwind romance follows. They bond over being misunderstood outsiders. Love conquers protocol. The monarchy resists. The couple escapes. End of story. But now, that polished narrative is being ripped apart piece by piece as people revisit the details that once seemed harmless. When Harry and Meghan first described how they met, the public was told almost nothing beyond vague references to a mutual friend. Later, it emerged that the woman who connected them was Violet von Westenholz, one of Harry's longtime social contacts deeply tied into elite London and celebrity circles. That detail suddenly matters because critics are now asking whether Harry truly entered this relationship naturally, or whether powerful networking, social climbing, and image strategy were involved far earlier than anyone anyone realized. And behind all of this sits the ghost of Princess Diana. The comparisons haunt Harry constantly, not only because of media obsession, but because conspiracy theories about Diana's life never truly disappeared either. For decades, people speculated endlessly about her relationships, her loneliness, her affairs, her emotional struggles, and even Prince Harry's paternity. The rumors surrounding James Hewitt exploded largely because of Harry's red hair, despite timelines proving impossible claims impossible. Diana's emotional closeness with Barry Manicky, Oliver Hoare, and Hasnat Khan only intensified public fascination with forbidden secrets hidden behind royal walls. And that is what makes Harry's current situation psychologically devastating. He spent his entire life watching the world destroy his mother through speculation and emotional intrusion. Now he finds himself trapped inside another cycle of endless rumors involving the woman he sacrificed everything to protect. The irony feels brutal, almost cruel. Harry fled Britain claiming he wanted peace, privacy, and healing. Instead, the scandals followed him across oceans and became even louder. But insiders claim the hardest part for Harry is not public criticism anymore. It is isolation. Life inside the royal family moved forward without him. Prince William appears increasingly comfortable as future king. King Charles seems focused on legacy and stability rather than family reconciliation. Meanwhile, Harry appears emotionally stranded between worlds, too distant from Britain to return comfortably, yet increasingly disconnected from the California dream he once defended so fiercely. That emotional limbo became painfully visible after Harry's private remarks about truth and healing. Healing means telling the truth, even when it hurts people you love. Those words continue haunting royal observers because they sounded less like philosophy and more like warning. What truth? What pain? What exactly is Harry struggling to finally admit to the public, to Meghan, or perhaps even to himself? Now people are connecting patterns everywhere. Harry attending more events alone, his exhausted appearance, his increasingly reflective interviews, the reported tension after the summit, Trevor Engelson's silence, Meghan's calculated pause, the resurfacing surrogacy conspiracies, the old paternity rumors connected to Diana, Sarah Ferguson's alleged claims. Each individual controversy might sound manageable alone, but together, they create something darker, the image of a royal narrative cracking apart under the pressure of too many contradictions at once. And maybe that is why this story suddenly feels bigger than celebrity gossip, because at its core, it is really about identity, about a prince who spent years believing he escaped manipulation only to allegedly fear he walked into another form of emotional captivity instead. It is about a woman who mastered reinvention so completely that critics no longer know where performance ends and reality begins. And it is about a monarchy that survives through silence while the internet survives by destroying silence piece by piece. Right now, nobody knows what happens next. Maybe Meghan launches a fierce counterattack through interviews and lawyers. Maybe Harry retreats again and publicly doubles down on loyalty. Or maybe, and this possibility terrifies royal insiders most of all, Harry finally starts speaking without fear of consequences. Because once someone begins telling emotional truths publicly, even imperfectly, the carefully controlled image surrounding them can collapse frighteningly fast. And somewhere beyond the headlines, beyond Montecito, beyond palace walls and viral clips, one unsettling possibility still lingers in the air like smoke nobody can clear away. What if the real story behind Harry and Meghan has never actually been the one the public was told at all?